My wife got shot. My wife got shot, and I took her, amen, overseas to recover. I took her overseas and got her out of the way because that what was needed. We was making a lot of money. People want to rob you, amen. People want to take advantage of you and everything. That's what happened. They shot my wife. You can read my book. My book will be out in the next, I don't know when, the next 30 days or so. My book will be out. Amen.
The very first time that this whole Hitman thing ever came up was, let's say, Detroit, Michigan, 1983, between 1983 and 1985. Okay, I was born in 80, so this is between the ages of 3 and 5. Okay, I was born in 80. I was born in West Virginia, and I was the only one of my siblings who was born outside of Detroit, Michigan. Right, I have 4 brothers. Every one of them was born in Detroit, Michigan, but me. Okay, so the story was that when my mom was pregnant with me, my father was trying to get clean from crack. So my father was addicted to crack cocaine. I think that he was doing other drugs. I know that he was smoking, and I also know that he was drinking during that time. And when my mom was pregnant with me, we all left Detroit and went to Virginia so my father could get clean. Now, as far as I know, like during that time, he was still like doing a lot of trips back and forth to Detroit, because I guess like that's where he grew up. It's hard to leave that lifestyle, all your family, all your friends, you hanging out, you living that life, you in the streets. So it was hard for him to really like make that separation. But at some point during that time, and I want to say it was probably like right around 85, my father got clean. And I want to say that this was probably like his final time, like smoking, probably his final time drinking too. He wasn't there. There's like different types of drinkers, you know what I'm saying? Or different types of drunks. My father, with his substances, became more of an angry person. And with alcohol, even with caffeine, that would have an effect on my father that made him really angry. And so like, I would probably say like right around 85, and I would have to get confirmation that this was the year, but so this is like right around 85. Now imagine like my parents are out at night. Now y'all know Detroit back in that time, there was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of gang activity, a lot of drug activity, like during that time when the 70s and all of that time when crack became like super, super popular, and there was a lot of people on it, and the crime rate increased and stuff like that. So they were like out at night, and there was a shooting that happened. And during the shooting, my mom ended up getting shot in her leg. And they say that there was a bullet that went into the back driver's side where my father was sitting, went into the headrest that could have struck him in the head. But that day, my mom she got shot. And so they say my father, during that time, he thought somebody was actually trying to kill him, like purposely. Like over the years, the conversation ended up being like, was there someone trying to kill my father, or did they just get caught like in a crossfire, drive by, something like that? Did they actually get caught up in something? My whole life, like my whole childhood, like growing up, I believed, because my father told me this, he told all of us kids this, that there was someone who was trying to kill him. And since that time, since like right around 85, and I think 86 is when we left, and my mom ended up in Germany. Now I remember like when I was a kid, probably like right around 85, this time period, like after my mom got shot, and my father was like, oh no, we're getting out of Detroit. And so he got all of us packed up, we left. And I remember us going to like California. I remember us driving to like other places. Now, mind you, I'm like little, like super little. And so I can just remember like seeing the California lights, like driving into, I don't know what city it was, but I just remember like being a kid and just seeing lights. But we ended up not settling down there, and I'm not exactly sure why. I feel like maybe it was because like it was just too different than the life that my father had in Detroit. And I think that like the lifestyle difference, the culture difference, I don't think my father really liked that. And plus I remember them saying something about the cost of living there. It was like super expensive. So imagine how it is right now. And I guess like back in the early 80s, it's probably about this comparable. Like the cost of living was high back then too. We ended up not settling down there. And then I just remember at some point settling down in the South, but my father not feeling safe. Like he was just on edge all the time, angry, just not right. And then I remember my mom working out, running and stuff like that. And eventually she went into the military. So all growing up, well, growing up, my mom was the one who was in the military. My father actually served in the military before I was born, like during the time that he and my mom met. But growing up, it was my mother who was in the military. And from what I understood back then, what I understood my entire life is that my father forced my mom. He was like, you need to go into the military. And he forced her to join because of the threat that he said was, you know, on his life. And he was forcing her to work out and to prepare and all of that stuff and get ready to join the military. And then she did. And then, as far as I know, he told her, asked to go to Germany. And so we all ended up, my mom ended up getting stationary. We all ended up eventually moving to Germany. And so that's how I ended up in Germany the first time. So I want to say, I don't know, I wonder like what year this was by this point. It seems like it's probably getting around like 86, 87, 88-ish. And then at some point, we ended up coming back to the States. And this was, I want to say, like during like Desert Storm, Desert Shield, somewhere around this time. This is what the wars that was going on at that time. And we were over in Germany. Landstuhl Air Force bases where they would send all of the troops who had gotten hurt, and we lived right around that space. And my mom actually worked at Landstuhl, and it was a lot like going on during that time. And so we ended up coming back to the States. My mom ended up getting out of the military, and at some point we went back. So let me stop it right here. What you need to take away from this video is that during this time, there was a major threat on my father's life. He felt that whoever shot my mom, whoever shot the van, was trying to shoot him. Like there was an actual active hit out on him. And so for the next foreseen, let's say decade maybe, we were on the run, ended up moving to Germany to escape the hitmen that were after my father. So we went to Germany to escape the threat because he knew that the hitmen wouldn't come to Germany. Okay, so stay tuned for the next one.
Hey man, in my closing, I don't know if anybody know my story. Amen. Praise God. My wife got shot. And I took her, amen, overseas to recover. I took her overseas and got her out of the way because that what was needed. We was making a lot of money. People want to rob you. Amen. People want to take advantage of you and everything. That's what happened. They shot my wife. You can read my book. My book will be out in the next, I don't know, the next 30 days or so. My book will be out. Amen. But I said all that to say this. I took my family overseas. Now, I'm a businessman. My mind is the man of Christ. I got him. He's down inside of me, and I know it. They never missed a meal. 5 kids. Do you hear what I just said? They had breakfast. They had lunch. They had dinner. They had clothes. They had school supplies. They never missed a meal. All the time we were overseas, I took care of my family. I fed them. I protected them. In a foreign country, they can't even speak the language back then. Huh? I opened up a business just cleaning stairwells. Amen. And then I had to hire people to work with me in a foreign country. And I'm speaking unto your soul. You, the unbeliever, the one that's on the line, the one that think, oh, God ain't gonna do this, God ain't gonna do that. Honey, listen, shut your mouth just for a minute. Just a mustard seed of faith, just enough. I deal with people all the time as a pastor, and some of these people, you can't put the mustard seed. They're not gonna let you put a mustard seed of faith in them enough to help them. If you get near there, all they're going to do is drain you. You can't force feed a mustard seed. Just a mustard seed. Just swallow that. Swallow trust. Nah. I had money to burn. Listen, wherever you go on this earth, you're going to eat. I've never seen the righteous forsaken nor seed begging bread. That can't be erased. And demons, they want you to think, oh, the pastor's kids begging bread. No. Something else is in play because it's impossible for that word to come back void.